Some of you have been crying over the loss of someone who was never sent by God in the first place. You've been mourning the departure of a person whose only role in your life was to teach you what not to tolerate. Let me tell you something, when God removes a narcissist from your life, it's not because he's punishing you, it's because he's protecting you. See, sometimes we don't even realize we're in bondage until the chains are gone. That person who always made you feel like you weren't enough, that's not love, that's control. And God won't let you stay in a place where your soul is being starved and your spirit is being suffocated. You thought losing them was a loss, but really it was a win. Because when they left, peace showed up. When they walked out, God walked in. Somebody needs to hear this today. God is not just taking people out of your life. He's taking you to a new level. The enemy tried to convince you that you needed them, but God is saying you only need me. So don't run back. Don't answer the text. Don't entertain the guilt trip, because what's behind you is nothing compared to what's ahead of you. You're not just free, you're chosen. You're not just delivered, you're destined. And the next time the enemy whispers, you made a mistake letting them go, you stand firm and declare, no, I made a move toward God, toward healing, toward everything he has for me. Come on, if you receive this, give God a shout of praise. When God removes a narcissist from your life, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Too often we think separation means something is wrong with us. We ask, why did they leave? Why wasn't I enough? What could I have done differently? But what if I told you that God didn't remove them to hurt you, he removed them to help you? See, we pray for elevation, but we don't always realize that elevation requires separation. God is not going to take you to the next level while you're still tied to people who keep pulling you down. He won't place his blessing on something that keeps you bound. That's why when a narcissist exits your life, you need to stop chasing and start trusting. Trust that the one who sees the whole picture knows what he's doing. The problem is that we sometimes confuse comfort with calling. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's from God. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they are meant to stay. Some people are seasonal, but we try to make them permanent. And when we hold on to people that God is trying to remove, we end up delaying our own destiny. We block what God is trying to bring because we're too busy clinging to what he's trying to take away. God saw the conversations you didn't hear. He saw the manipulation, the deceit, the gaslighting. He saw the way they twisted your words to make you feel like the bad guy. He saw how they made you question your worth, your sanity, and even your faith. And because he loves you too much to let you stay in bondage, he had to step in. He had to separate you. And I know separation hurts, but pain is often the pathway to purpose. Think about how many times you ignored the red flags, how many times you convinced yourself that they would change, how many times you settled for apologies with no action behind them. God waited. He gave them chances, but when it became clear that they were never going to love you the way he intended, he moved. And he moved in a way that left no room for confusion. Maybe they betrayed you. Maybe they discarded you like you never mattered. Maybe they walked away without a second thought. And you're left wondering, how could they do this? Did I mean nothing to them? But what if God was answering the prayer you didn't even know you prayed? What if his removal was his rescue? Because if they truly loved you, they never would have left. God doesn't just remove people to hurt you. He removes people to prepare you. That relationship wasn't your destination. It was a detour, a lesson, a stepping stone. And the moment you stop looking back is the moment you start walking forward into what God has for you. You can't receive new blessings with old baggage. You can't walk into your promise while still entertaining your past. Do you remember when Lot's wife turned back? God had just freed her from a city filled with destruction. But instead of walking in the freedom he provided, she longed for what was behind her. And in that moment, she turned into a pillar of salt. She became stuck. How many of us are still stuck because we keep looking back? We keep replaying conversations. We keep rereading old messages. We keep reminiscing about the good times and forgetting the pain that came with them. Listen, when God separates you, let them go. Don't let loneliness make you run back to the very thing he delivered you from. Don't let nostalgia blind you to the reality of what that relationship really was. Some people only loved you when they could control you. Some people only stayed as long as you didn't challenge your behavior. Some people weren't in love with you. They were in love with a version of you that tolerated their dysfunction. And the moment you started waking up, the moment you started setting boundaries, the moment you stopped playing small, they had no use for you anymore. But let me tell you something, God has a use for you. He didn't separate you to leave you empty. He separated you to fill you with something better. Better relationships, better peace, better purpose. The enemy wants you to believe you lost something, but in reality, you gained something priceless, your freedom. This is the season where you stop mourning what God has removed. This is the season where you trust that if He took them out, it's because they couldn't go where He's taking you. They weren't equipped to handle the new you. They weren't designed for your destiny. So dry your tears, straighten your crown, and walk forward with confidence, knowing that God's plan for your life is so much bigger than the people who walked away. Separation isn't rejection, it's preparation. And you are being prepared for something far greater than anything you left behind. What feels like heartbreak is often heaven's safeguard. When God removes a narcissist from your life, it can feel like the worst thing that has ever happened to you. The pain is real. The confusion is overwhelming. You find yourself asking, why would God let this happen? If He loved me, why would He let me go through this kind of suffering? But what if I told you that what you see is pain, God sees as protection? What if the very thing that broke your heart was the same thing that saved your life? God has a way of allowing situations that we don't understand to unfold in a way that pushes us toward His will. See, you were praying for peace, and God answered your prayer not by changing them, but by removing them. You asked God for clarity, and He gave it to you not in the way you expected, but by exposing what was hidden. You wanted to grow, and He made it happen not by keeping you comfortable, but by forcing you to let go of what was never meant to stay. You see, when you're in the middle of a relationship with a narcissist, you don't always recognize the damage the being done. You get used to the manipulation, the lies, the way they twist your words and make you feel crazy. You adapt, you adjust, you start second guessing yourself, thinking maybe you're the problem. And that's exactly what the enemy wants, to keep you so entangled in dysfunction that you can't even see how far you've drifted from the person God created you to be. But God loves you too much to let you stay in a place that's killing your spirit. He sees the truth even when you don't. He sees the nights you cried yourself to sleep. He sees the way they tore you down little by little, stripping away your confidence, making you feel like you'd never be enough. And because He is a good Father, because He is a protector, He stepped in. He did what you couldn't do for yourself. He removed what was draining you. And I know it doesn't feel like protection when you're in the middle of it. It feels like abandonment. It feels like rejection. It feels like your whole world is falling apart. But sometimes God has to let things fall apart so He can build something stronger. Sometimes He has to let you go through the fire so you can come out refined. Sometimes He has to let you experience the breaking so you can understand the blessing. You thought you lost something valuable, but what if you were actually spared from something destructive? What if God saw what was coming, the deeper level of deception, the greater heartbreak, the years of wasted time, and in His mercy, He cut it off before it could do more damage? What if He knew that staying would cost you more of your peace, more of your identity, more of your purpose? What if the pain you feel right now is the price of your freedom? And let's be real, if it didn't hurt, you wouldn't have let go. If the narcissist had been just a little nicer, if they had given you just a little more love, you might have stayed stuck for years. But God allowed the pain to push you out. He allowed the betrayal to be the final straw. He allowed the disrespect to become undeniable, not because He wanted to see you suffer, but because He knew suffering for a season is better than settling for a lifetime. You have to understand God's protection doesn't always look like what we expect. Sometimes His protection comes in the form of unanswered prayers. Sometimes it looks like a door slammed shut. Sometimes it looks like betrayal, but one day you will look back and thank God that He didn't let you stay where you wanted to stay. One day you will see that what you thought was rejection was really redirection. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, what is God saving me from? Instead of dwelling on the pain, start looking for the protection. Because what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for your good. You may not see it yet, but one day you will understand why that relationship had to end. One day you will realize that the heartbreak was actually the best thing that could have happened to you. One day you will recognize that God's no was really his mercy. And on that day you will stand in your healing, you will walk in your purpose, and you will thank God for loving you enough to take away what you needed. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are protected. And what's ahead of you is so much greater than what you left behind. Keep moving forward because God's best is still on the way. Freedom doesn't always come in the way we expect it. Sometimes before you can step into the life God has for you, you have to go through the breaking. And breaking is painful. Breaking feels like losing everything. Breaking feels like you've hit rock bottom. But what if I told you that rock bottom is exactly where God does his best work? What if the very thing that broke you was the thing that sets you free? When you were in that relationship with the narcissist, you may not have even realized you were in bondage. It didn't look like a prison at first. It looked like love. It looked like everything you ever wanted. They made you feel special, important, chosen, but somewhere along the way, that love started to feel like control. The compliments turned into criticisms. The affection turned into manipulation. The security turned into fear. And little by little, you lost yourself. That's the thing about chains. They don't always feel heavy at first. Sometimes they feel like comfort. Sometimes they feel familiar. Sometimes they feel like home. But God never called you to live in captivity. He didn't create you to be trapped in a cycle of emotional abuse, self-doubt, and confusion. He didn't design you to shrink yourself just to keep someone else happy. He didn't call you to stay silent while your soul was screaming for freedom. So he let the breaking happen. He let the relationship collapse. He let the truth come out. He let them betray you. He let them walk away. And I know it hurt. I know it felt like your whole world fell apart. But what if I told you that your world wasn't falling apart, it was falling into place? What if I told you that the destruction of what you thought you needed was actually the beginning of your deliverance? Because freedom isn't just about leaving, it's about healing. It's about getting your mind back. It's about reclaiming your identity. It's about breaking the emotional strongholds that kept you believing that you weren't good enough, that you weren't worthy of real love, that you had to earn someone's affection by constantly proving yourself. That's not love, that's slavery. And God said, no more. But here's the thing about being set free, you have to walk in it. God can break the chains, but if you keep picking them up, if you keep running back, if you keep trying to fix what he already removed, you will stay bound. The Israelites were delivered from Egypt, but some of them still long for the place they were freed from. Don't let nostalgia keep you tied to what God has already freed you from. Don't let the fear of being alone push you back into the arms of someone who only loved you when they could control you. I don't let your emotions convince you to rebuild what God himself tore down. You see, when God breaks you free, he doesn't just remove the person, he removes the hold they had on you. He starts shifting your mindset. He starts restoring your confidence. He starts healing the wounds you didn't even know you had. And that's why the breaking was necessary. Because if God had left you in that situation, you would have spent the rest of your life surviving instead of thriving. You would have spent years being drained, diminished, devalued, but God said enough. So instead of looking at the breaking as a tragedy, start seeing it as a transition. Instead of mourning what you lost, start preparing for what's coming, because the enemy tried to convince you that you would never be happy without them. But God is about to show you joy like you've never known. The enemy tried to make you believe that you would never find real love, but God is about to show you what unconditional love truly looks like. The enemy tried to make you think you were nothing without them, but God is about to remind you that you were always chosen, always loved, always enough. You are not the same person who tolerated the things you used to tolerate. You are not the same person who ignored red flags just to keep the peace. You are not the same person who accepted less than you deserve just to feel wanted. No, the breaking changed you. The breaking made you stronger. The breaking woke you up. So don't despise what you went through. Don't waste time wishing it never happened. Because the very thing that tried to break you was the thing that God used to build you. You are walking in freedom now. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. When a narcissist leaves your life, don't chase after them. Don't beg them to stay. Don't sit around trying to figure out what you did wrong. Because the truth is, their exit is God's entrance. Their absence is making space for His presence to move in your life in ways you never imagined. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and thank God that they walked away. You will realize that losing them was the best thing that could have happened to you. See, when you were in that relationship, they took up so much space in your mind, space in your emotions, space in your spirit. They made everything about them. Your happiness depended on their mood. Your peace depended on their approval. Your confidence depended on their validation, and God saw it. He saw how they drained you. He saw how they made you feel small. He saw how you lost yourself trying to keep them happy. And because He loves you, He stepped in. At first, it doesn't feel like a blessing. At first, it feels like rejection. It feels like abandonment. It feels like you weren't good enough. But let me tell you something, if they could leave you, they were never meant to stay. If they walked away, it's because God removed them. And when God removes someone, it's never to hurt you, it's to heal you. You see, God doesn't take away anything without replacing it with something better. But you have to be willing to let go. You have to be willing to release what was so you can receive what will be. If you're still holding on to memories, still replaying conversations, still trying to figure out how to fix what's already broken, then you're missing the miracle that's happening right in front of you. Because while you're looking back, God is trying to move you forward. That person had to leave because they were blocking what God was trying to bring. Their negativity was drowning out His voice. Their manipulation was keeping you from seeing your worth. Their presence was limiting your potential. And as long as they were in your life, you would have kept shrinking, kept settling, kept sacrificing parts of yourself just to make them stay. But God said, no more. Now you have a choice. You can sit in your pain and wonder why they left, or you can step into your healing and realize why God removed them. You can keep looking at the closed door, or you can turn around and see the new doors that God is opening. Because what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. What's coming is better than what left. And the only way to step into the new is to let go of the old. You have to trust that if God allowed them to leave, it's because He has something better in store. But you can't receive better when your hands are still full of what He's asking you to release. That's why separation is necessary. That's why He allowed the breakup. That's why He exposed their true character. Because He needed you to see what He already knew. They were never meant to go where He's taking you. So don't grieve over what God has already called dead. Don't try to resurrect something He has already buried. That relationship was a chapter, not the whole story. That person was a lesson, not a lifelong promise. And now that they're gone, now that the distraction is removed, now that the toxic cycle is broken, God can finally step in and do what He's been waiting to do all along, restore you. He is restoring your peace. He is restoring your confidence. He is restoring your joy. He is reminding you of who you are without them. And let me tell you, who you are without them is stronger, wiser, better. Because now you're not looking for validation from someone who was never capable of giving it. Now you're not bending over backward trying to earn the love that God gives freely. Now you're walking in freedom, walking in purpose, walking in the identity that was always yours. The narcissist's exit was not a loss, it was a gain. It was the breaking that led to your breakthrough. It was the closing of a door that led to the opening of a better one. And the next time the enemy tries to convince you that you lost something good, you need to remind yourself of this truth. I didn't lose anything. I gained my life back. God is not just removing, He is replacing. He is not just separating, He is elevating. He is not just taking something away, He is making room for something so much greater. So stand firm. Keep moving forward and watch what happens when you finally let God fill the space that they left behind. Healing after separation from a narcissist doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and sometimes it's painful. You don't just wake up one morning and suddenly feel whole again. You don't just flip a switch and erase the memories, the wounds, the scars they left behind. Healing is messy, it's unpredictable. Some days you feel free, and other days you feel like you're drowning in the weight of everything you went through. But the good news is God is with you in the process. When the narcissist was in your life, they took more than just your time. They took your energy, your confidence, your ability to trust. They made you question yourself, made you doubt your worth, made you feel like you had to prove your value over and over again. And even though they're gone, the impact of their words, their actions, their manipulation doesn't just disappear. That's why healing isn't just about moving on, it's about rebuilding what they tried to destroy. God is not just healing you, He is restoring you. He is bringing back the joy that was stolen, the peace that was disrupted, the love that was withheld. But here's the thing, you have to let Him, you have to allow Him to go into the deep places, the hidden wounds, the parts of you that you would rather avoid. You have to be honest about the hurt, the anger, the resentment, the bitterness that lingers even after they're gone. Because healing doesn't happen when you ignore the pain, it happens when you surrender it. The enemy wants you to believe that you will never recover, that you will never trust again, that you will never love again. He wants you to believe that the damage is permanent, but he is a liar. Because what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for your good. What was designed to break you is becoming the very thing that builds you. What was supposed to leave you shattered is becoming the foundation of your strength. See, the narcissists thought they had control over you. They thought they could define you. They thought their absence would leave you lost, broken, desperate. But what they didn't realize is that their departure was the beginning of your transformation. You are no longer bound by their opinions. You are no longer trapped in their cycle of manipulation. You are no longer dependent on their approval. This is your season of healing. This is your time to rise. And rising doesn't mean pretending you're okay when you're not. It doesn't mean forcing yourself to move on before you're ready. It means choosing every single day to take another step forward. It means reminding yourself that your worth was never tied to how they treated you. It means allowing God to fill the spaces that they left empty. Healing looks different for everyone. For some, it means rediscovering the dreams that were put on hold. For others, it means learning to trust again, learning to love again, learning to be again. But no matter what healing looks like for you, know this: God is not just making you whole. He is making you new. He is taking the broken pieces and creating something more beautiful than before. He is turning your pain into purpose. He is using your testimony to bring freedom to others who are still trapped in what you've been delivered from. You may not see the full picture now, but one day you will. One day you will look back and realize that everything you went through was leading you to something greater. One day you will see that the separation wasn't just about losing someone, it was about finding yourself. So keep healing. Keep trusting. Keep believing that the best is yet to come. Because God is not just bringing you through, He is bringing you up. And what's ahead of you is far greater than anything you left behind. When God removes a narcissist from your life, it's not just about protecting you, it's about preparing you. It's about positioning you for something greater, something you couldn't have walked into if you had stayed bound to what was breaking you. See, the enemy wanted you to believe that life after them would be empty, lonely, hopeless. But God says, watch what I do next, because after separation comes transformation. After loss comes renewal. After heartbreak comes restoration. And the reason God had to remove that person is because He is taking you somewhere they could never go. He is elevating you to a place where their manipulation wouldn't work, where their deceit couldn't survive, where their control would have no power. He had to cut the ties so you could step into the life He designed for you without carrying the weight of what was never meant to stay. And let's be honest, you wouldn't have left on your own. If God hadn't intervened, you might have stayed stuck in that cycle for years. Because that's what narcissists do. They keep you entangled. They keep you second guessing yourself. They keep you chasing after a love they were never capable of giving. They make you feel like you need them, like you'll never find better, like you'll never be whole without them. But the devil is a liar, because you were whole before they ever entered your life, and you are whole now that they are gone. You were valuable before they ever spoke a word over you. And you are valuable now that their voice has been silenced. You were chosen, called, anointed, and loved before they ever tried to break you. And none of that changed just because they walked away. The truth is, the narcissist, it was not your ending, it was your beginning. It was the moment God set you free so you could finally start becoming the person He created you to be. It was the moment he started opening doors that could never have opened if you were still attached to something toxic. Because when God removes, he replaces. When he takes something away, it's because he has something greater on the way. But here's the thing, you have to let go of the past to embrace what's ahead. You can't step into new blessings while still holding on to old burdens. You can't walk into your promised land while still looking back at Egypt. You can't receive what God is trying to give you if your hands are still full of what he told you to release. And I get it, letting go is hard, it's painful. Even when you know they were bad for you, even when you know they were toxic, there's still a part of you that grieves because they weren't always cruel. There were good moments. There were times you thought they really loved you. And that's why healing is a process. That's why moving forward isn't just about saying goodbye, it's about renewing your mind. Because if you're not careful, the enemy will use nostalgia to trap you. He will try to make you remember only the good times. He will make you forget the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the days you felt invisible, the moments they made you question your own sanity. He will tempt you to go back, to reach out, to reopen a door that God himself has closed. But you have to stand firm. You have to remember why they left, why God removed them, why you are better without them. Because you are better without them. You are stronger now. You are wiser now. You are free now. And what's ahead of you is so much greater than anything you left behind. God is bringing new relationships, ones that are healthy, ones that are loving, ones that reflect his heart, not the distorted version of love you were taught to accept. He is bringing new opportunities, ones that align with your purpose, ones that don't require you to shrink yourself to fit. He is restoring what was stolen, your peace, your joy, your confidence, your identity. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look back and thank God that he removed them. You will see the full picture. You will see how every closed door was a setup for something better. You will see that what you thought was rejection was actually redirection. And you will step into a life that is so much greater, so much freer, so much fuller than anything you could have imagined. So don't look back. Don't question God's plan. Don't waste any time mourning what was never meant to be permanent. Lift your head, straighten your crown, keep walking. Because God is not just restoring you, he is rebuilding you. He is taking you higher. And what's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind that. The separation was never meant to break you, it was meant to free you. It was never about losing something valuable, it was about gaining the life God always intended for you. The narcissist's exit wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God saw what you couldn't see. He heard what you didn't hear. He knew what was happening behind closed doors, and because he loves you, he stepped in. He removed what was draining you. He ended what was keeping you bound. He separated you so he could elevate you. Now you stand at the threshold of something new, no longer trapped in manipulation, no longer silenced by fear, no longer weighed down by someone else's brokenness. You are walking in healing. You are walking in freedom. You are walking into a future that is so much greater than the past you left behind. And I know letting go isn't easy. Healing isn't instant. But if you keep trusting, if you keep moving forward, if you keep your eyes on the one who called you out of that place, you will see that everything you lost was nothing compared to what God is bringing. The best is not behind you, the best is ahead of you. And what God has prepared for you is greater than anything you could have imagined. So stand firm. Keep walking. Keep believing. Because your story doesn't end with heartbreak. It doesn't end with loss. It doesn't end with the wounds of the past. Your story ends with victory. Your story ends with restoration. Your story ends with you stepping into everything God has planned, stronger, wiser, whole, and completely free.